Yeah, watch your language, you guys.
Yeah. Okay, so, what we are really interested in is what it was like to grow up in Mount Vernon when you did, or live in Mount Vernon when you did, and kind of particularly what downtown was like and what businesses in Mount Vernon were like. So we've got some questions arranged that we'll ask and you guys have seen, but then we'll also have time for just like anything else that you guys want to talk about. And if you feel like you're done for the day, just let us know, because as you guys know, we'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday, so. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay.
And introduce themselves.
Oh, yes, and if you guys could introduce yourselves,
What?
if you guys could just introduce yourselves and say also your parents' names, right?
Right.
Okay.
And how long you've lived in Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopie-doo.
If you want to go first, Betty J.
Betty Kleineck Johnson, and I lived in Mount Vernon 5th grade through 9th grade. I lived on the south side and I lived on the north side. So I tasted it both. And had some darn good teachers here.
Who
We
were
had a strike one year in the high school because the school board didn't hire a principal back, and the kids didn't like that, so they struck. Remember what year that was, Mary?
I don't remember.
I wasn't in high school then, but I remember when that happened.
Oh, wow.
We lived on the south side then, not too far from the high school.
And who were
When
your...
I had to go to the ward building, I lived on the south side, close to the high school. When I had to go to junior high and high school, I was on the north side. I had to walk farther.
And who were your parents, Mary?
My mom was Ola Kleineck, and my dad was deceased. And then she married my uncle, Uncle Kenneth. He died while we lived here in Mount Vernon. So, and she married Marvin Johnston from out of Glen Grove, so then I moved out to Glen Grove area. That's when I went to Martell.
Larry, how about you?
Well, I've lived here several times. I didn't go to school here except for Cornell, so I'm not familiar with the goings-ons and behind the scenes of the high school and the junior high. But my daughter did go to school here. She went for elementary school and junior high, and then she moved and ended up graduating from the same high school that I graduated from in Illinois, which was unusual. My parents, my mother's name was Velma Eileen Peak with an E-A-K, and my dad was, of course, a Purvis, and he was Glenn Dale Purvis. He was originally from south of Ames, and my mother was originally from Kansas, and they met when she lived in Story City. And she taught school there 1 year, and then got married, and of course that ended that. That was the way it was in those days. You couldn't be both married and teach. I guess it was two separate skills. Not really. My long-term exposure to events in town area was through school at Cornell and business with the theater and an office printing shop and an office supply shop. And with the theater, we also had a video rental for a while. So I had contact with people during a lot of volunteer projects and a lot of business projects, and with young people trying to figure out what kind of movie they actually wanted to go to see. That was always a good question. The answer was we want to go see the one we can't go see, and we'll go and see the one that we don't want to go see, unless we can get a ride into Cedar Rapids, and then we'll go there. And so that gave me a unique point of view of what things were like in town. And what did I miss so far?
Oh, nothing. I think you covered it.
Laurie, was your theater after the one burned down? Did you build that new little theater?
The new little theater.
Yes,
It was
okay.
called the Odeum.
And I don't remember what year that was.
75.
75.
And the old one burnt down either.
The old one was Strand.
The Strand.
Strand.
Yeah.
At either the end of January or the beginning of February. And we had it open, the new one opened by December, with a little help from a lot of people.
My brother Bob was 4 years older than me, and he graduated here in high school in '37.
Oh, wow.
So, but I ended up at Martell in '41.
So what sort of things could you guys buy downtown, or what sort of things did you buy while you were living here downtown?
Well, there was a Pringles that was a grocery store, and then there was we had taverns and we had beer parlor. Rupert's had a beer parlor up there on the south side. Then we had South Side Tavern next to the light company on.
Oh, like where
Light
Yock's
company
Landing
was on the
is?
corner.
Right, so like where Yock's Landing is now.
Who is there?
I think it's Yock's Landing, right next to.
I'm not sure.
It's probably a new
Anyway,
name
then
for what we
on
both
the
know.
north side where there's a restaurant now, it was a North Side Tavern.
For years, it was the north side and the south side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
and
it
the
was
taverns.
Joe's
Yeah.
International Airport for a while.
Oh yeah, yes.
It was a transplant, I think, into the town.
We had
because
Aussie's
the college.
drugstore and Bennett's drugstore. The post office was uptown. We had Johnny Icery's bakery.
Right, I remember that. That was here when I got here.
Had a pool hall uptown on the corner.
On the corner.
Corner of First Avenue North, across from the beer parlor.
There was a hardware store right in the center of the block on the north side that we used to love to go to because anything old in our house that needed repaired that no longer was manufactured, he had a part for it.
Yes, I remember that. Johnson.
Yeah,
Johnson,
Dale
yeah.
Johnson. I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was up farther.
And there was, I think, another Johnson.
And
who
then there
barber
was a
of
Jack
this.
Bloom had bookstore.
Yeah.
Right.
North Side barber shop on the corner. Dr. Paul had an office there, a dentist. Across the street was Ballman's for years,
Still is.
and
No, you're fine. You're fine.
And a dime store,
There's Stoll's when I was
and
here.
Caliban's, appliance
yeah,
store.
Calvin's had a grocery store.
There was a little soda shop in there someplace next to the florist that I liked.
Was that Jenny's? Is that what you were looking for?
I don't know. Yeah, because
It
there's
was
a
there
place.
the year I arrived, and it wasn't.
And
here
Vodka
next.
had the meat market
Oh.
Yes.
on the alley.
Was that so? The
Dime
was that
store.
have been called Jenny's store, Larry? Because there's a place.
Yeah.
Jenny's had a store, yeah.
Was it like a
Grocery store.
grocery store? Did it have a soda counter?
No, this was
No,
a separate
no,
soda.
no.
Oh,
bar.
it was
no.
different. Okay.
It was right next to either the florist shop or the or barber shop on the south side.
What?
And it
Was Jenny's store ever up? Was it ever up near Bauman's?
No,
Really?
Not next
okay.
to it.
It wasn't. It was on. It was on the other side of the street and
No,
down.
Jenny's was on the south side, wasn't it?
yeah, it was with Highway 1 where you, at the stoplight, just down in that side.
Oh,
Okay.
down on the, behind the store.
Oh, okay.
Jenny
Behind
Petrie.
this,
Turner's used to be down there too, back of the light company.
Okay. Because there's a place that I found when I was looking through stuff. It's called Jenny's store, and I don't know, because I know Jenny Petrick did have a store too.
yeah.
But
That's
I
who
don't
it
know
was.
if it was hers, and it shows up
No,
next to. It
It's
shows
Jenny
up.
Petrick. Yeah,
Okay, well, it shows up next to Stoll's Ben Franklin and all that stuff.
yeah, that's where
The
it
one I'm
was at.
thinking of, as I remember right,
That's
it
where it
had
was
a
at.
single syllable name. It might have been a lady's name.
So
It
it's
might have
west
just
of the
been
alley on the south
the
side.
name of the store.
I mean, yeah, west of the alley.
But I know you could go in there and get a real soda, fountain soda.
Would that have been Pat's place?
Meredith's had a drugstore,
Maybe that
Right.
was it. Maybe it was
and
attached to
they
a drugstore.
really had a soda fountain,
Was that on the south side?
the south side.
That's probably it then.
Austin had it there too.
I used to work at the soda fountain, that's how I know.
And where was
Meredith.
that, Mary? Where was that? Where was the soda?
Meredith, you remember Tom Meredith? Maybe
No, I
not.
don't.
You know where the dime store used to
Yes.
be, right on the alley there?
Yes.
It was right there, right in the corner. And it was a big store, it was a drugstore.
Meat market was on the other side, vodka.
Yeah,
Then it was Rupert's Beer Parlor. And we come on down, it was Robert's Photography.
That I remember.
Photo, I worked there too.
And then there was a beauty shop down there. Mary something.
Mary Stab Butler?
Yes,
Was
Mary
it Mount Vernon? Vernon Beauty Store or
but
something?
she was up by Bowman's.
Her beauty shop was down there, and Hoover had a jewelry store in there in the same place. And then it was the grocery store on the corner.
I don't remember a grocery store there.
Grocery store. I remember was
Pringles
Jack
were
and Jill.
there for a long time. Mary, you should remember that.
Pringles was up a little ways. They weren't on the corner.
They were on the corner
Just along the corner.
of First Avenue, on the south side, southwest side, across from the light company. Don and Doris Pringle. They had a
Doris
good,
Pringle, I remember.
they had a good business.
She was a real estate agent too, was
And she was the mayor.
And the mayor, that's right.
Yeah.
Who was?
And Doris Pringle was mayor.
Oh, really? I didn't remember that.
She's the one that got those trees planted in the cement all along Main
Oh,
Street.
really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think we might change our original plan, because Mary, you're here and contributing anyway, so I think, Janet, do you think it'd be okay to
I
put
think so.
everybody? Yeah,
I think
okay.
that's a good idea.
Okay. Betty J, I'm gonna scoot you over a little bit.
That's okay. Whatever.
That's really pretty.
Thank you. Kids made that for me. Sunday school kids.
And then Mary, I'll move those chairs out of your way.
I can go around now.
Yeah.
Now, I seem to remember a lot of the names that the stores became.
A lot of the names they became
Yes,
after.
they opened by some other name.
Oh.
Hello, Mary Lou.
Okay, hang on.
How are you?
Do I need closer?
If you could get just a little closer, that would be awesome.
Well,
Oh, she can.
I
These
can
go-karts go pretty good.
There, that's perfect.
Oh,
How
There we go.
perfect can you get, kid?
Okay, that's better.
But now, Mary, did you always live on the farm?
no,
No, you lived in town.
I never. I was in Cedar Rapids till 9th grade. And
And came to Mount Vernon.
then my
Country.
parents bought a farm here in Mount Vernon.
Uh-huh. But then you lived on the farm.
Well, I was supposed to,
Yeah.
but all through high school I had a job in town. And
So did you
I
live
went
in
to
town
school.
then too?
yeah, I babysit with this
Okay.
family
Oh.
after school and weekends.
And so
Who
you
was that
just stay
with?
with them?
Yeah,
Okay.
Who was that with, Mary Lou?
I don't remember.
Well, hell's the bells.
That's family with all the kids.
That was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, but you took their money, you should have remembered their name.
I didn't take their money, I got to eat and sleep.
Oh,
Free
really?
room and board, not free
Yeah.
room and board, but room and board for babysitting.
Yep,
Huh,
yep.
whoopie-doo.
But my dad didn't have a car, so when I
That
went to
works good then.
I lived out on the farm, and he couldn't bring me into school every day. There wasn't school buses.
Where'd
so
they live here in town?
We
Remember?
never lived in town.
No, the ones that you babysat for. Come on,
Different places, but I don't remember their name.
you don't remember where you lived either, huh?
Well,
In a house.
I remember the
I
first
also
places I
worked
lived
at
was
Robert's Photo
stayed in
Shop.
the same
Yeah.
house for
I
20
worked at
years.
Big
with same
Cafe.
address, Pike.
Who's the
Which cafe,
It was
Mary?
the same
Biggs.
house, but the
Biggs?
address changed.
Yes.
That's happened with the buildings downtown
B-I-G-G-S.
too.
Different
Do you
post
remember?
office
Well,
boxes.
no, you,
Yeah, it's been
You
a
probably
different.
Remember the
don't.
Blue
Try to figure
Parrot
it out.
Cafe?
huh?
Remember the Blue Parrot Cafe up there on the alley?
No, that I don't
On the
remember.
north side? The old bank was across the alley from it.
That was Blue Parrot. When did that go out? When did it
If I
leave?
know.
Yeah, cause that one was that it was there in the was it the 30s that it was?
Might have, I don't know. Kyle's sisters run it.
You couldn't remember that if it was in the 30s.
Well, I know that, but that's part of.
Research.
I saw it in my in a
Something you read,
1932 directory, I think. But yeah, so what did some of the, for instance, a supermarket like Stoll's or some of the drugstores, what did they look like inside?
Well, Aussie's had a thing that you could get drinks at the counter, remember? I had a lemon Coke there, I remember
I
that.
remember Meredith's had a soda
Yeah,
fountain.
right. Counter.
That's where I used to scoop ice cream and make malts and all
Right,
that stuff.
all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I can remember that hardware store because it was just so old and musty.
Johnson's.
Yes.
Yeah,
And he was such a nice guy.
that was on the
My
north side.
father-in-law loved him.
Dale Johnson, on the north side of the street,
Right.
up close to,
And it had the ribbed paneling on the walls.
oh, there was a,
And a lot of the stores had the raised ceilings with the tin.
there was a restaurant up there too.
The Palisades is there now, I think, the restaurant, the Palisades.
Yes, that's
Oh.
about where the
Yeah.
hardware store
Yeah.
was.
Uh-huh,
Maybe not the whole thing, maybe only half of it.
yeah.
But Johnson, he was the cutest little thing.
Yeah.
Dale,
Yeah, Dale. But everybody came to town on Saturday night, right?
right.
Yes, now I was trying to tell Addie about that, she was just dumbfounded about this coming to town on, so tell about the coming
They'd
to
have band
town.
concerts.
But that's where you did your socializing.
You'd bring, if you're on the farm, you'd bring your eggs to town and
Right.
trade them for groceries.
Yeah. But the little kids could run where they wanted to and cross the street and all that.
Yeah,
And you found out all the news, you knew who died and who was born and everything.
I experienced that, but in a different town.
Yeah.
Actually, Story City. And there the big thing was either go to the movie or ride the carousel when you came in from the country. Because I lived on a farm with my aunt and uncle and his family for a couple of years, or summers. And that's what we did. See who could drink the biggest root beer and not throw up on the merry-go-round.
But you
Carousel.
didn't come to town all week. You stayed home and worked.
What did you buy when you came to town?
Well, usually your groceries.
Groceries.
But what did you make it, did you make bread at home or do the canning, or what would you buy in town that, I mean, today we buy everything, nobody cans or does.
Well, they buy loaves of bread and buy quarts of milk. And then some milk was delivered to the houses too, here in town.
Yeah,
Remember
the
the,
milkman.
yeah,
Who was the milkman? Was there a creamery around here?
not here. Creamery at Lisbon, creamery at Springville, but not here.
But there was a milkman. It was Davis, milkman. Milkman.
What about Solon? Have they got a creamery? I don't
I
remember.
don't know. I don't know.
Don't think so.
Larry, were Saturday nights big when you had the movie theater? Did you pull in a big crowd then?
It was, to start with, it was a slow night. Then we got people trained to come and watch movies instead of throw popcorn. And then it became the busiest night of the week. And Saturday and Sunday afternoons were also very busy.
Yeah, matinee.
Matinee. And if it was a certain film, Thursday night, the last night, was a big night too, if it was a musical. Because we always had an extra person working that night, so I could stay up in the booth. Every time the music came up, I turned the volume up and people sing and dance and smile. It was a lot of fun.
But then, I don't know what happened, but then it was Thursday night you came to town, and Saturday you stayed home. And I don't know how it changed or why.
I don't either.
That was probably an effect.
I don't remember that.
Do you think it had anything to do with TV? When TV came on, then people stayed home? Because I remember there was a switch from Saturday night to Thursday night was often when the stores would be open.
Right.
I don't remember
Most of
that
the
at
variety
all.
shows were on Saturday,
I'll bet that would be my guess.
but I don't know if that's true or not.
When do you think it happened?
When they got TV, when people got TV and they could stay
Okay,
home and
okay.
watch TV.
Okay,
That was the end of theater business.
Kinda heard it,
what's his
didn't it?
name? Oh, I forgot his name. Don Horton managed the Strand for a while and ran a theater in West Liberty or North Liberty? West Liberty. And he was part of the old crowd of theater managers when we took over here. And he was always telling us how the business had gone to complete pots when TV came out. And he knew he was on the last legs of the theater. And the theater he had is still running and is doing great business.
Lawrence West run this theater for years, the Strand. And that was the parents of Janice West Johnson today.
Oh.
It was her parents that were run the Strand Theater.
Okay. Oh yeah, you told me.
And Uncle Louie.
Uncle
Oh yeah, Louis was
there.
her right-hand man.
Yeah.
Louis was the brother of Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yes, Janice thought that they had trained me specifically to run
She
a
thought
theater.
what?
That her family had trained me how to run a theater.
Oh crap.
And it wasn't true, but
Hush your mouth.
she was convinced. After all, I ran the same kind of movies they did, so I
That can
must
go
have
in the
learned.
story too, oh crap. Oh, brother.
But that's the reason I took over the theater and rebuilt it, was I had not exactly huge experiences with the old theater, but I always liked going there to watch a movie, even if it was filled with little screaming popcorn throwers. They didn't have much popcorn because they didn't sell popcorn in the theater to start with. They sold
What
on a
teacher
back
was
vendor
it
on
they had
the
the
street.
school strike over?
What?
Which teacher was it that they didn't hire, that they had to strike over?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No,
Oh,
I don't.
criminy. I bet Doc would.
I don't know.
What were prices like for things around town, like a gallon of milk or a dress or things like that.
When I started being responsible for paying for things, which would have been in the early to mid-70s, the prices were actually fairly comparable to Cedar Rapids stores of the same quality. I liked the personal service here better. I could always get at the time where I shopped, I could always get a better cut of meat here than I could there. I guess it's because I didn't know any good butchers in Cedar Rapids. But
And Bowman's was a well-liked store always.
always, these shorts.
Good for Cornell and good for everybody.
I like shopping there, I like the hardware store, I like Stoll's, I like Jack and Jill when it was open,
Fred Young worked in there for years.
and I'm missing probably 10 dozen stores that have come and gone that were,
But there was always a dime store
yeah, there's
until
always a
now.
dime store.
Yeah. And Art Coudart and Earl Evans had the Southside Barber Shop.
That's the barber I had.
That was
Wasn't it
before
Johnson?
you all got in the bank business.
It wasn't a Johnson at all.
Let me get out of this a bit. Are you gonna edit this?
We'll have to ask Addie about
Mary said Mary doesn't want to, but we will have to edit it, I think. Just because we've been doing a lot of changing stuff around, but we'll let you guys see the final edits and things like that, and it won't be anything extensive, I don't think.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Couldn't Doc come today?
Who's Doc?
What?
Who's Doc?
Doc
John
Wolf.
Wolf.
Oh, we didn't ask, but we could.
He couldn't. You don't need to try and talk to him. 'cause
Oh, okay.
He's on hospice and
Oh, okay.
he's in the care center.
Gotcha.
I talked to him this morning.
And he's not doing too good, huh?
No.
That's too bad.
How did you guys pay for things downtown? Was it with credit or cash or?
Oh, it's cash.
With groceries, we charged them, and when my husband got paid, then we paid off that. But for little kids, it was rough on them because one time my daughter took a candy bar and we got outside and I said, "Where'd you get it?" She says, "In the store." And I said, "Well, we're gonna take it back in. You can't do that." And she said, "You don't pay for things." See, and she saw that. So it was a good lesson for her. And the storekeeper went along with it and thanked her for bringing it back. And
Yeah.
they did little things like that. Now
Right.
somebody just jerked the candy away from her or something. So, but that's how we
But they
paid for
explained
stuff.
it.
Mhm.
Whose grocery store was that? Do you remember?
Let's,
Litz, yeah.
no.
And where
Kenneth.
was that, Mary?
Kenneth Litz.
It was on the corner of up here.
Yeah.
That was
Where
Dilly's
Dr.
up
Paul-
there.
No, it wasn't. Litz was halfway in the south side
Yeah.
for a while. And then they had a smaller one in the corner where
Up there by the
Joy,
theater,
where the beauty shop is.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
where Dilly's used to be.
And then there was a maid right there too.
Okay.
There's been a lot of different ones.
And there was City Hall up there. My goodness. And dentist shop or something was in between there too.
His dentist
Got
shop
bigger
next to
was
the
across
Oh,
the
yes,
street.
that was Dr. Harrison.
Yes.
Harrison had a
Yeah.
Okay.
dental shop along in there too.
Okay.
Well, and Dr. Prowl was on the corner.
The
Yeah.
other corner, yeah.
Was the North Side Barber Shop. North Side and South Side Barber Shops.
Lots of barber shops. All
What?
had neatly cut hair.
What?
Well,
So there were a lot of
and
barbers
shave.
and shave.
And you shave.
Well, I wasn't shaved for a long time.
And North Side Barber Shop was on the corner too. Was that with
No, it was next to the corner.
next? Okay, so like next to
Prawl,
Okay, that's what I.
Dr.
Okay,
Prawl.
gotcha.
South side was on there was Ballman's, and then there was a woman's dress shop,
And
Anu.
and then it was the South Side Barber Shop. Then it was Caliban's, wasn't it?
I don't know, but the
Yeah.
dime store was.
I think so.
Well, I know that Joanne Neff had a flower shop in there too. And
Who?
what- Joanne Neff.
I don't
remember
remember
Yeah,
that.
I don't remember her at all.
She was between the dime store
And
and Art Kudart.
Okay, okay.
Was that during World War II?
No, it was after, because I didn't come here until '69, and it was after that, so.
I don't
So
remember
I don't
that.
know who.
I don't remember that.
And it was before her, right in that area, someplace either separate, maybe in that building, or part of the dime store, is where the soda shop was, I remember.
Okay. Well, that must be, well, maybe that's Jenny's, that's the Jenny's you're looking for?
Maybe, yeah, it might be. I'll have to check.
When I got here in the '70s, and when I was here as a student in the '60s, I paid,
Jenny,
basically,
I'll bet you.
everything was cash payment. I was just a normal person and operated on week-to-week paychecks instead of month-to-month or year-to-year that the farmers were stuck with.
Was it Jenny's in there where
The only time I
Caliban's used
charged
to be?
anything was when we started business. Those were all business
Remember?
expenses.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Was Caliban's on the inn?
Yeah.
That was, and then.
No, that was Pringles.
That,
Pringles were on the end. Caliban's were up farther in the street,
Calvin's was right where
in the
the
middle.
stoplight is. It was right here.
Caliban's?
yeah.
Yes, he was, right on that corner.
Oh, I didn't
Northeast,
think he was.
northwest
I
corner?
bought all my stuff from him.
Yeah.
And then it was Travers after that.
I don't
That's the
remember.
southwest corner.
Who did you say?
Travers after
I
Caliban's.
don't
Appliance
remember
store.
that.
And they had an
TVs
appliance,
and-
yeah.
Washing
Yeah.
machines. You rented out some machines, I think, to the college.
And
too.
Leo Calvin was so deaf,
Hmm.
and it was so hard to talk to him and tell him what you wanted. He was a nice guy, but we got all our appliances from him. And he had a guy that stayed right by him and would or tell him what was said. But, oh, come in.
You come in.
Sorry about this.
I'll probably even be able to get the rest of the stuff in there.
Well, there were lots of barber shops, or some barber shops, and grocery stores, and meat
Taverns.
markets, and lots of taverns, but I can only think of Bauman's and the Anu shop, clothing for men and women.
Yeah.
And it was, for women, it was called Ready to Wear, because you could go in and it was ready to wear, because most people made their things at home, got their,
So,
sewed, got their patterns at the dime store or whatever, but did women buy a lot of clothes at Anu's, do you think?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah?
you bet. You bet.
it,
And Ballman's
it
was
was
a big
more
deal too.
stylish. Little upper,
Anu was?
yes.
Yes.
Nicer things, and
Yeah.
you know that they were good. They were made well.
So was that the only place to buy clothes in Mount Vernon?
Well, the dime store had
Dime store
Some.
had clothes, okay.
I
not a
remember
lot, but they had
To me, the
some.
unique thing about Bauman's was I could buy a shirt exactly like the shirt I could buy in Cedar Rapids at a big store, but the shirt from Bauman's was a little bit longer in the tail. And the stitching in the sleeves was
Was
nicer.
it cheaper?
And it was about the same price. And because I bought as much as I could from there because it fit well and lasted a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas if I buy something from one of the fast food type stores,
Well, and Bowman's
it would wear out in a hurry.
had big sizes.
Yes, they had big
Because
sizes.
my son, when he was in junior high, wore a size 12 and a 13 shoe, and we couldn't get a basketball shoe for him except at Bauman's. And then you paid for them. They cost a lot more in that size, but they had them.
What was someplace special to go downtown, or a special thing to buy?
You didn't go for special things, you went for what you had to have.
Yeah, yes. Or the occasional treat, maybe.
Yeah, so what were the treats?
Yeisley's Bakery was a good treat.
What?
Yeisley's
bakery.
Bakery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually.
And
Yeah.
the surf and turf out at the restaurant on the corner where the Hallmark is now was a good place to go. And what else was I? I'm thinking of my student days now.
Where's Hallmark that you're talking about? Where
That's
Hallmark?
what I'm wondering.
There was a restaurant out
Yes.
here.
It was kind of a
There's
dinner
one
club.
burned down, there was a nice one that burned down.
Was
Yeah.
that the one that burned down? It was right out here. It
That's
was
right
Right
a
on the
supper
corner,
club.
it was on the corner,
Was
Yes.
it on the corner?
yeah.
Well, on
Yeah.
the corner-ish.
Brand new and it burned down.
I know you could get the lobster and the steak, and that's what I like. Every time a relative come to visit me while I was at Cornell, I said, that's where I want to go to eat. I couldn't afford to go on my own. I was a student.
Well,
Did the
there-
students do a lot of shopping downtown?
They did a lot of shopping for things they needed, like the
Necessities.
Dime store did a tremendous, and the
Yeah.
drugstore, tremendous business on paper, knickknacks for your table in your room, and things that hang on the wall, and covers, and
Pens and
pillowcases.
pencils.
Everything you could think of that you'd need in a dorm or on campus, you could buy downtown before they opened the competition on campus.
And Bloom's bookstore too, did students frequent there?
I would have to say so. I can't remember the name of the
Oh
store.
yeah, cause if you were a student in the 60s, didn't he close in 59?
I don't know.
What
any
store are you
clothes.
talking about?
Bloom's bookstore.
Who?
Bloom's.
Old
Bloom.
Jack Bloom, don't you remember
Yeah,
him?
yeah. On the north side. It's on the north side,
Yeah.
right?
No, I don't remember it
The
specifically.
bookstore,
So it could have very well been close by the time I got here in '63.
near Johnson's Hardware, wasn't it? Next door to Johnson's.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Did a lot of the students have cars or not cars?
Well,
Not-
as an
not
example, I had a car the end of my first year, and I had an assigned parking space for it, and I could check the key out from the dean anytime I needed to go to Cedar Rapids on the weekend. The rest of the time, the car stayed put.
They weren't used that much.
No, they weren't used that much, and they weren't that many of them. They were not what you call a mobile group as far as outside walking distance. We did have a bus though for a while, called the Rambler. It was about a 26-seat bus, I think, school bus. It was painted white and purple.
That's so cool.
It was the RAM, RAM-Blur, BLER, I think. Could have been you are too. Meaning fast.
Would they go on the weekend?
Yeah, I would go into Cedar Rapids
On the
on
weekend?
the weekend to
Yeah.
events, and
Yeah.
otherwise it would take you on field trips and things like that. I
Did
imagine
you-
it must have taken them to the airport too.
Did you have access to one of the Mount Vernon books?
The directories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did a sequel,
Um,
or you probably just have the one, maybe you don't have the old one.
well, it's not like the Know Your Town ones. Is that what you're talking about? It's just like a phone book, is basically what I've been
Oh,
looking at.
no, this is a hardcover.
Oh, the history of Mount Vernon
Yeah.
ones. Yes,
And
yes,
then
we
there's
do
a-
have one of those.
And then
As
there's,
a second one.
yeah.
Yes, we do
But
have
I
those.
wish they'd do it again.
Be good, wouldn't it?
I've
Yeah,
got
a
one
lot
of,
has changed.
I've got one of each. And my kids, I don't know who's gonna get them.
I bought
Probably
one
fight
each,
over
I
them.
bought one for each of my kids. And I've still got them, at some point they'll want them, I'm sure.
Well, they're worth some money, I think, in Mount Vernon.
Even online, if you have, because I did some looking for the website, they have them posted online so you can view a digital copy now. But even online, like on eBay and from the
Yeah.
publisher and stuff, they're in the hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
Yeah. Who had the best food in town? Or like, you mentioned that Johnson, he had the best hardware in town, or you just
Right.
like to, so who had the best stuff in town?
Well, Bowman certainly did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you mean food, like restaurants? and-
Yeah, like
categories.
restaurants, or it could just be who had the best anything in town too.
They had Big's Cafe. Remember that? Maybe you don't.
What?
Big's Cafe.
was that on the
Big.
south side?
It was on the north side
North side,
where
okay,
Scored. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
scores.
That's right, where it was.
Was that before Schutz Hardware then?
I don't know because I worked there too. But that's where everybody, we had a little area in the back, play music and you can dance there. And
I
then
don't
during the
remember that.
war, the servicemen came from Cornell. And if you was a girl sitting there, you was gonna get danced, one way or the other. But I worked there and I liked it.
Don't remember that at all.
You don't?
Uh-uh.
You missed
What
out.
year was that? What year was that?
I don't know.
I was probably too
Soldiers
young.
there, but it didn't.
Oh, yeah, you
30s,
betcha.
40s.
In the 40s, it would have been in the 40s, yeah.
Well, then I was out of school already. I graduated in 41 from Martell.
Oh. Well, you.
And I certainly didn't know about it. I wasn't born until 45.
Yeah. I didn't want to leave Mount Vernon school, but when I did, I was glad that I did because Martell girls played basketball with other towns, and Mount Vernon didn't do that for years. Because some girl had gotten killed in the gym. Did you know that?
Yes, I knew that.
It was a
Really?
girl, you know.
Had those old radiators
Yeah.
for heat, and they were playing, I don't know whether it was basketball or what. They were playing something and the girl tripped and she fell and hit her head on that, and it killed her.
Yeah.
And so that was the end of basketball from
Yeah.
Mount Vernon School.
Who was that girl, do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Before my time.
But for years they didn't play.
Yeah, I know they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't play when I was in school.
Yeah. We went to Martell and we played other schools. The Olin always beat the Oh,
No, I told you what.
watch your language. Anyway, it was a tournament game, and I come home. On the way home, teacher said to me, "Betty, you were High Point man tonight." I had 2 free throws.
So you played the 6-on-6, or the, what, yeah, was it?
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
half court, the
right.
half court.
Right.
How'd you do against Loudon?
We never played
But,
Loudon.
I taught a year at Loudon when they still had the
That's too
6
far
on 6.
away.
That was a fun team to watch.
But-
They go boom, boom, and then shoot. You couldn't carry the ball past the center court.
Wow.
Was it 2 or 3 dribbles you were allowed?
Mount Vernon always played Marion and Anamosa. Remember the boys' basketball teams played them.
Could you guys talk a little bit more about Saturday nights, like people like coming to town and what that was like?
Everybody waited for Saturday night, the kids even.
Get groceries and do whatever they gotta do. If they're gonna go to the theater, they go Saturday night, most of them.
Right. And using my experience in Story City, when you went, the kids were just as likely to be in one group at the movies, the younger kids, with the older kids someplace else and the adults someplace else, and then you all meet back at the car or the truck, whichever, when you're done. And they were all on their own. Nowadays, you would have to call out the kidnapping squad to find them.
Well, you know, there used to be a trolley here.
Yeah.
in Mount Vernon,
Mm-hmm.
and came right up the street.
Main Street.
Main Street. And on Saturday night, if you went early, you could take a ride on the trolley into Cedar Rapids. And
Okay.
if you was gonna do something in there and then come back, but you had to be back by 10 o'clock. So you better hope you don't miss the trolley.
Trolley.
You're in trouble.
Yeah,
And when was the trolley?
And it went to Lisbon too.
When did the trolley go out? Like when was it?
I don't remember. I really don't.
I bet it was in the 30s. I bet it was in the 30s.
I know it was.
Early 30s.
It was running when I first came here. And
What year was that?
I told you, don't ask me dates. I came here when I was in 9th grade.
Okay.
So take, how you do it.
I wasn't nice too.
I don't know what it was.
Well, I
But
know
I
they,
remember all those bricks, because that's what it was. And then, after they got the trolley out of here, Cornell used to do the freshman, what do you call that?
initiation.
When they have to do something.
Oh yeah, initiation, like Larry said.
Initiation.
Yeah, we had to wear
And
a
they had
beanie.
to wash the bricks with toothbrushes, the girls.
Oh wow.
And they did the whole main street.
Oh dear, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole rigmarole, but you put the beanie on your head and you recited this poem for the benefit of the upperclassmen who were watching you. And then you politely asked them if you could do it again. And of course they said yes. So many nights you missed dinner because you were busy reciting this poem over and over.
Can you still recite it?
No, I can't. I became a sophomore, I forgot it. But there's a lot of things like that that the students did, and they didn't normally mesh in with the community, but some of the things did. Like they have to wash windows sometimes.
Well, they did some bad
And they,
things.
oh yeah, they did a few bad things too.
That's when they stopped it.
Yes. I wasn't exactly proud of the school then, or my classmates. But it was an experience. I do remember the fact that I came in '62, spring of '60, fall of '62 to visit Cornell. And I decided to go to Cornell because they got round pies from the Isley's instead of square pies like my high school had on a big sheet. And they also had a passenger train that stopped here. I didn't ride it because it wasn't stopping when I was coming. And I had to take the Greyhound bus. And then the next year, the first year I got to Cornell, they decided to change the May Music Festival to the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra because they couldn't get the Chicago Symphony Orchestra in except by train, and the train station was closed. And they couldn't bring them in that way anymore. So I had to put up with an inferior St. Louis Symphony Orchestra playing the overtures of War of 1812. And I was stuck in the second row center. Boy, was that a moving experience. Those kettle drums went off for the candles.
That was at the chapel then,
Yeah, the
wasn't
chapel,
it?
King Chapel.
Wasn't that at the chapel?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a great place to see performances. The family went to see after we moved here, went to see the Tamburetson's Eastern European folk dance group many times.
Our twins graduated from Cornell, and Susan played on the girls' basketball team, and Scott played on the football team. So, and I worked for the coaches, but that was before they came to school. But anybody that had kids when they worked there, they got discount for their kids going to school.
That's right.
Didn't work for me.
And I looked forward to that until I finally had a kid at 40, and then it wasn't in effect, and I wasn't associated with the school as an employee anymore.
Yeah.
I did work for him for a short time.
But also the high school football field was built by WPA workers, wheeling dirt down from the hill in wheelbarrows. That's how they made
That's
that
how they
darn
did it?
football field.
The high school one? you
Yeah,
The old high
said?
school.
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Well, that was a lot of dirt to move.
That's the one they're still using for football.
And the old people wanted to keep it, not get rid of that
Right.
football field. That was neat.
It was a good school,
I thought it was.
yeah.
I loved it.
We had two good local women that stayed here and taught school, and they were darn good teachers. Bertha West and Jessie Hughes.
Yep.
And they were, then the teacher that they had the strike about was a principal. And I don't remember why the board didn't rehire her, because she was well liked and everything, but didn't work.
You're talking about Jessie.
But
You're talking about Hughes. Jessie Hughes.
no, I don't think that's right. I thought it was a Flynn or something.
I don't know.
Anyway, I wasn't in high school then. I don't know that I was even in junior high.
I was in high school.
We had good teachers in elementary too. We had Marie Alien was a 6th grade teacher, and oh gosh, I tried to remember this name the other day. 5th grade teacher, I can't think what her name was. She was well liked too.
What was the year you graduated from high school?
41.
41, Mary?
44.
44? And
63.
63.
We would have we did celebrate. The reunion this year was 75 years.
Wow, isn't that
Duck
wonderful?
Wolf and me, yeah.
You were the only two?
Well, I thought so, but there come up a third one, came to my
Who was it?
place, Dick Dvorak.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I thought you was dead. And he said, well, I wasn't. So,
Still alive and going.
yeah. And somebody said, you didn't say that to him. I said, yes, I did. So,
Yeah, I knew Dick when he was a
but
kid.
75 years, when you think about that, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
I'm an old lady. And I don't care.
Well, and you deserve it, Mary.
well, it's better than the alternative.
That's right.
Not under the ground, are we?
Right.
Not yet. Well, Mount Vernon's been a pretty good town, that's for sure, because they've had good businesses. And they had Cornell, so they had a lot of things going for them.
And a good, strong, basic community spirit.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't associated with the college, you
And
were
they got,
associated with the
they
rest
got
of town.
several churches. They got 2 Lutheran churches now, and they got Methodist and Presbyterian. Then there's
Catholic
another,
church,
yeah, the Catholic, and then what's that out west of town?
Bible church,
Okay.
One on the hill.
out by Abbey Creek.
What's the one on the hill?
That's the one that you're trying to talk about. And that's what I've always heard it called. The one on the hill.
There's one out there, west of where Donna and Margaret Copenhagen
And
live.
that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
So yes, we have a lot of churches to choose from.
Yeah.
And for a while, I know we had, well, we did have for a long while a Mormon church.
Yeah.
Is the building still there? And we also had a group of, I don't know whether it was the newer version of the Jewish Hebrew religion,
Where was the Mormon church?
out on, just over the bridge.
On the
into
way
town.
out,
It's
yeah.
on the way out.
Yeah. It's there now.
Yeah, okay, I know where you're talking about now.
Yeah.
And the Jewish people met at Alley Chapel
Hmm.
for a long time. I don't know if they still do or not.
I don't think so.
The little boy got killed at the railroad tracks by a train, you remember that?
Oh, yes.
But I don't know who he was.
2 of them.
Huh?
2 boys.
2 of them got killed.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the
Do
kid?
you remember that? My grandson was supposed to be with them,
But
Oh, wow.
but his mom wouldn't let him go, so.
saved his life.
It did, but who knew it then?
Oh,
What were other big news things like that that happened in Mount Vernon?
Well, a fire on Main Street,
We've had
several
fires
fires.
here.
Every time a fire comes along, it's on Main Street, it seems like it's the biggest thing to happen because it involves so many buildings because they're all tied together.
Well, the tavern down the north side,
Right.
Joe, was it Joe's or who had it
Joe.
before that?
Joe's International of South Side.
That burned too, and that was a nasty, and it was so cold that day.
where was that at? The north side on the corner?
Not the north side, excuse me, it was the south side tavern.
Oh,
Okay, that would have been, could have been Joe's. Then.
Busenbark?
Busenbark, yeah, Busenbark.
Busenbark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mm.
they had one down there.
I don't remember that fire.
Rosenbark was my real estate agent.
and my mama, she wanted to see it because my brother was on the fire department. And she wanted to see it, so I brought her uptown. And she was standing on the corner across Because there was a tavern on the corner there, Woods, Margaret Woods had it. And Margaret says, Mrs. Browning, you better come in where it's warmer. No, she said, I don't go in taverns. So I
You
said,
didn't
Mom,
know.
I said, let's go in. You don't have to sit down or not. Nope. But finally it got so cold she had to go in just inside the door. And so she got to watch the fire.
Yeah. Mm. I don't remember about that fire.
It was a nasty one.
Mm.
I know the one that involved the theater, we were living in Illinois at the time, in, east of Quad Cities area. And it was on our local news, the story. That's how I found out about it. And so if it made the local news in Illinois, you know it was a big fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one that was around the middle of the south side block, that one they had the
That was
Oh,
south. That was
Algiers?
south
Algiers,
side.
yeah.
Yeah.
They had the big aerial ladder nozzle for Marion and to fight that fire. I think
You're
they
talking
also-
about the locker?
Locker's on the other side of
Locker's on the south
the
side.
side. This is where Algiers,
And that was a
Area.
bad fire there.
Didn't
I
that
didn't
go across
remember
like
that.
3 buildings?
yes,
Yeah.
the Elders downstairs and upstairs both had severe damage. Downstairs was mostly smoke, I think. Upstairs was an actual burnt building, and neither side of them, I think.
Now where's this?
Where Elders, in fact, the Elders was there, because they had the benches with the,
Oh, that didn't make sense.
Pizza
Elders,
place.
that,
It's a
don't know who
pizza
that is.
place now.
Pizza-
It's a
Pizza
pizza
Palace.
place now. And the Sun newspaper is
Is there
right
now.
next to where Robert's photos was.
oh,
yeah. So the south side, the middle of the block between the alley and First.
Well, maybe where Rupert's beer parlor was.
And I know that Elders Pizza Palace was there at the time because they had all the paintings on the wall of the European
War.
village scenes,
Yeah.
people harvesting the wheat and making the bread, making the pizzas in the oven. So I know it was Elders at the time of the fire.
Hmm.
And then, of course, there was a big fire on the Cornell campus. The
Where?
South Hall, no, not South Hall, it was between South and
College.
College Hall. College Hall, the steeple caught fire. And it took forever to get put out instead of trying to save the building. If I remember right, they managed to save the classrooms and part of the building, and then the lower part of the building. That's actually recent history. That's in about the last 30 years. Recent
Quiet
history.
town, kid.
Yeah. Yeah, we get bored, we roast marshmallows. Oh, that I don't mean to make fun of.
Cornell kids always took their blankets and went to the quarry.
Yeah. That I don't know about. I wasn't in that crowd.
I wasn't either.
No.
My idea of a big day was at
We
Cornell
always
was
saw them go.
King Chapel, walking back to the dorm across that big hole in the ground that later became the commons.
Oh.
That was just a big, big hole in the ground with rocks and boulders and trees and bushes and
Where did you
clock
guys?
spins. And
Where did you guys eat before?
I ate at Pfeiffer.
Was there also food in Bowman?
Bowman, yes.
Okay.
It
That
Dining
stood
rooms
in
in
the dining room.
was, I ate in Pfeiffer and worked substitute waiter in Bowman for my roommate. And he also got me hooked up with a time or two up at the president's house, where every person from outside of Mount Vernon, Iowa, went to work and were shocked and surprised that they didn't serve alcohol. They served wine, they served champagne, they served all those kind of drinks, but there was no alcohol in it.
Like no liquor, no hard liquor, you mean?
No alcohol. It was all
But there was
alcohol-free.
wine?
Well, it was wine light. It was
Oh.
probably in the wine bottle was probably sulfur oxide. Or something.
Oh, okay, like sparkling cider
Right.
or whatever. Okay, gotcha.
And that was because we were so tied to the rules of the Methodist Church at the time. Still are to some extent, I'm sure. But I didn't drink myself, so it didn't make any difference to me. But it was real surprising when I found out that all these rich people were standing around nibbling on hors d'oeuvres and drinking cocktails and making sure they didn't drink too much because they didn't want to get drunk.
King Chapel always had a lot of good programs at Christmas time. The whole community would go and join in singing up there in the choir. It was a good deal.
That would have been fun. I was never there at Christmas
Yeah.
time.
Enjoyed that.
Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about or tell us about?
Don't you think we gave you a good history?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have other topics we can remember.
It's been a good town.
Yeah. Janet, what do you?
Is there anything we didn't cover there, Addie?
I don't think so. I think we went through what items you bought and where, what places looked like inside, how much you paid or what prices were like. We didn't talk about how did you get stuff home? Did you
My car,
the car you did or walking or not
my
really?
car.
Well, if you
Yeah,
lived,
If you lived in town, you probably
You
walked.
could walk.
when you walked in, you didn't think anything of it.
Mhm.
You just
Yeah.
did it.
A lot of people that had families here in town had the little two-wheel carts they pulled behind them when they went shopping.
My brother used to ride the horse to town and take it home, with saddlebags.
Uh-huh.
And then there was a guy that drove his tractor to town.
Who was that?
The guy who drove the
He lived
tractor.
out on Highway 30. He drove his tractor home too,
Yeah.
and nobody picked him up. No cop picked him up.
Man, that'd be cold in the winter. Did he have a cab on top?
I don't know.
Oh, that's so cold.
Oh, I'm sure he drove it in the winter.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that drove his little, lawn.
More.
Lawnmower.
Yeah, I remember him. Or I remember someone who did that anyway.
But he had a place to carry his groceries and stuff on the back.
What would you guys say the biggest change in your time in Mount Vernon has been?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't like all this new stuff coming in.
Like new,
I like Little Mount Addie. Yeah, I called it that. But it's not little anymore.
like the new businesses and things
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business has changed a lot over the years, but that was part of what Mount Vernon was change in businesses. It was always answering to the newest need that people had, but never quite getting there. So we would probably have somebody that sold some of the first cell phones, but you couldn't sell cell phones in Mount Vernon and sell enough of them to make a living. So you had to buy a bigger company and move to Cedar Rapids. So we always had kind of the forerunner of things coming in, or unique stores, and then they would change to something else. Just in general, I'm part of the generation that does not care much for cell phones. For instance, I had a meeting I was to attend about a week ago. It was on Wednesday night, and so I finished dinner early, got it ready for the meeting, went out to the front of the building to wait for my ride, and it never came. And I couldn't figure out why. It was a regularly scheduled meeting, so I called and found out why. It had been canceled the night before because of the heat, and they notified everybody on the committee by the easiest way possible. They sent them all not an email, a text message. And I don't get many text messages on the phone that comes into the switchboard.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's a whole different world. So that kind of change mystifies me. My daughter uses it just like everybody else does, but she starts talking about cell phone and text message this and something else, and I don't know what she's talking about. I know it gets messages through, and I miss a lot of them. But I also don't miss the phone calls that start out with, "Have we got a deal for you?"
All you have to do.
Yes, it's sign on the bottom line.
When you get a telephone call from this marketers, you can mark this off. You just tell them, "Did you know, sir, that you're calling a nursing home?" Oh, but hang right up.
We had one that was a good one for a while. The house we were living in was jointly lived in by my wife and daughter and her parents. And so, as it turned out, the house was in her parents' name. And when the phone would ring, I'd answer the phone and they'd say, "They're calling about a special on the siding for your house. And we can give you this great deal and all advertising promotions and everything goes with it." I said, "Well, I don't own my house." "Oh, well, do you pay rent?" "No." "Well, how do you live there?" "Well, we just moved in."
Well, speaking of cell phones, I remember living in the country at one time and being on a party line,
Right.
and the
Get
phone
a
would,
general ring?
a general ring, and then somebody would announce that on Saturday night there's a big special at the grocery store, whatever, milk for whatever, and that was a way of advertising.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a general ring.
If
So
they
then
needed help, they did that too.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, like a farm fire or something like that.
Yeah.
Or bad
It worked.
accident.
And that's where you also got all your gossip.
Oh, that's
Right,
right.
right.
That's right.
Listen in.
Yeah, I got close to that. Our phone system in Illinois was a private 4-party line, or 8-party, I forget which it was. You had a number that was your number, and only your phone would ring when they called it. But if you picked up the phone at the same time the other party did, you might have a 3-way conversation because there was one other phone paired with yours. And even though it had a different ring, they could be on the phone at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Dad used to always, when he'd try to use the phone and somebody'd be on it, over and over and over, he'd say, "Well, Elsie's got her leg over the line." So we knew what it was.
Did you, in some of the phone books, and this might be a little bit past when you guys kids were around, but in some of the phone books there's a listing for a teen phone. That's a phone number for
I've
kids.
seen- I've seen
Yeah.
that.
No, I've
Yeah.
never seen that.
I have.
yeah, we never had one for our daughter,
We never did either.
but by the time she wanted one, she could have a cell phone.
Hmm.
And so she had the same thing, and she just paid the bill entirely. But I remember you could have a teen's phone, you could have a
Time is it, Mary?
renter's phone, or a
Time is
parent's phone, or something like that. My dad had a phone,
We
main
go on
phone in
this
his
bingo.
house.
Huh?
There
We
was
go
a
on
second
this
line to
bingo.
the little house out back
Yeah.
where my grandmother lived for a while. And that was listed as an offshoot of their line.
Is there anything else we didn't cover?
You mean about the town?
Yeah, or just about yeah, your lives here, anything like that.
It's a good town. I think so.
I think we did
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've noticed a lot of people that move away as soon as they can, after they graduate, are back here before they have their second child.
And I'll tell you something, go along with that. Remember Bob Campana?
Yes, he's coming back, I hear.
He bought a house in Mount Vernon and he's moving back. Yeah,
Good, good.
I saw him yesterday,
Yeah,
Good.
so I'm glad he is back.
yeah. I forget, it was Joy that told me, or
Did you
Someone
ever
else
hear
told
of
me.
him?
No, who
he's
is
a
he?
photographer amongst other things.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay, and he
Did a lot
did he
of the-
had a shop in Mount Vernon,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I've heard of his shop, but
And he
not
did a lot of the photographs that were on the banks
calendars.
calendars.
Oh, okay.
There used to be quite a few of them in the doctor's office.
Right. Yeah, most of those
So
were,
he's coming back.
And he moved back.
That's good.
And his wife wasn't with him, so maybe he don't have that wife anymore.
Hard tell.
He never mentioned her.
I
I
don't know.
don't know. But he's a nice guy.
Well, so we have tomorrow and Wednesday reserved to chat with you guys. Is there anything else, any other directions that you want to go in tomorrow or Wednesday, or do you think we should talk to somebody else, or what are you feeling?
Are you going to do anything with the school?
That's not in our plans right now. Mhm.
Well, most of the things I would talk about in addition to that were general, my association with the chamber. It was always a group activity.
Mhm.
There were strong leaders and followers. Most of the time I was one of the followers. I was,
Weren't we all?
yes, Mike Smith was.
The
a
schools
big
are
leader.
always strong too.
Yes, for instance, when the community felt they needed a before school or after school program, they didn't go, they went to the school district, and the school district said basically, we can do it, but we can't afford it. And we need organization, and there isn't enough from the state to do it. And so we put together a committee of people from town, people with business interests, school interests, and family interests, and all kind of church interests and everything. And within a year, we had a before and after school program across the street from the elementary school at the Lutheran church. I don't know if there's any Lutherans in the group when we did it, but a community of people like Mount Vernon won't leave a problem like that alone until they solve it.
So it sounds like we could talk about schools tomorrow.
They work together.
Yeah.
If that's something that you guys would want to talk about.
Well,
Some more school stuff?
I don't know that much about the school itself because I was a parent
Mm-hmm.
and my daughter was fairly young at the time. She was just in elementary school and she left here at the end of junior high. But she knows a lot of people.
I noticed that list that
Mm-hmm.
they gave
This
it
one?
to us, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it said something about Halloween pranks. Well, there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Oh, this one, I don't think, maybe I don't know, a Halloween pranks on here?
Yes.
Alright, so
Did
I'll
you-
start making a list for stuff to talk about tomorrow. So, can I change Halloween pranks to just like holidays in Mount Vernon
Well,
in general?
that was on
Was it?
the sheet that I got.
Yeah. It's there someplace.
Then I don't know. Maybe Mary. I bet Mary came up with some more.
There was two sheets.
There's a whole list for school. One for school and then one for
Dances
the
and-
city.
Okay, well, did Mary give you that one?
No, I don't have that one, so.
Okay,
It's
so
over
we'll
there.
talk. We'll talk to Mary, cause these are all. Is this one yours, Larry, or whose is?
I had one there.
Oh, here we go. School days questions. Yeah, we didn't.
Get
have-
into that.
No, we didn't. Okay,
That you can do tomorrow.
so yeah, we'll talk about this tomorrow.
I'll try to call my daughter and find out something she remembers.
Okay, so holidays and school stuff. And then Larry, you could talk about some chamber events or things like
Try
that.
to.
Okay.
About what?
Chamber events. My history is limited to Heritage Days and a few associated holidays. The ones before the Heritage Days you have now.
Well,
What was it? It was some other celebration of something.
And Mary,
Food
I think
item or something.
it would be really interesting for you to talk about things on the farm. Like, I know you didn't come until 9th grade, right? You didn't
Yeah.
live on the farm till 9th grade.
yeah.
But I think that would be really interesting. Janet, do you? Okay.
Well, it probably went along with everybody else.
You drove in.
Mm-hmm.
Autumn drove cars to school. They didn't have buses all the time.
I walked to school when I lived in Cedar
Yeah.
Rapids. Yeah, and it was 2 miles.
Let's see. So we've got those school questions. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about over the next couple days?
People walk from the west end of town. Heck, that was a long one too.
Okay, well, I think we've got a good list. Plus, tomorrow, if we think of more stuff that. If you
Bring
think
it
of
up,
more stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, right, we'll just bring it up. Okay, I'll give these back to you, Larry. Well, thank you guys for sitting down with us today.
Thank you.